beauty for a duck. Bowling now to Cheteshwar Pujara, who turns this off his hips. A real bobble as though it hit a hidden trampoline out there. Not that it would have mattered because long leg was quite wide, and that is a very easy for Cheteshwar Pujara. All of his runs on the leg side. And so far today, 11 he is of 28 deliveries. The slightest stray in line when you're this quick means that it's easy enough for a good batter to put you away. You've got 2 slips, backward point, cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, deep square leg and long leg. So Saini being encouraged to target Pujara's stumps. Does get bowled a reasonably high amount for a batter of his class and his defensive ability. Those sort of low hands and not really getting at the ball. Potential reasons for that as Saini's into Pujara. This is back of a length outside off stump. Good scoring area for Pujara. His first run on the offside today as he pushes a single to cover off the back foot for a single. Pujara wandering around to tamp down a spot. Virat Kohli retaking his guard. Middle stump guard, I think, for Virat Kohli to Navdeep Saini. Teammates for a long time. Kohli was his captain at RCB for some years. Navdeep Saini before Navdeep Saini moved on to the Rajasthan Royals. So, a bit of a hold-up. Well, that's what the hold-up was for. They were trying to get the attention of the deep square leg fielder to tell him to come in. I think he was having a bit of chat with the crowd. Is that Everson?
Yeah, I think so.
Deep square leg.
Indicating that somebody, yeah, it could have been work, yeah.
As Saini comes into Virat Kohli.
Was it?
Pushes to mid-on.
It's Roman.
No, it's Roman Walker,
yeah,
sorry.
That's why he loves a chat, doesn't he?
Well, he's become a bit of a celebrity. He was on Sky Sports News this morning, Roman Walker, talking about his fifer and his runs and batting with Rishabh Pant and all of that. Yes, he's come up now to have a chat with the square leg umpire. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Roman Walker. Square leg region is open. He's got to concentrate now, Roman, on the ball that's being delivered by Saini to Kohli, who defends to Leicestershire at backward point, and there is no run.
You have to say that Kohli looks in pretty good order.
Over this run of nearly 3 years without an international 100, he has often, particularly in Test cricket, looked absolutely flawless until he's got out.
Yes.
Think back to his 70-odd in the first innings at Adelaide on this recent ish tour of Australia. One of his innings in the World Test Championship final, a couple in England. Faces up now to Saini. Guides this with the open face past second slip. Good slide by Louis Kimber. Gets up and throws, but they'll come through for 2 very comfortably. Good athletic movement for a big man, Louis Kimber. Slid into the ball, transferred it from one hand to the other, got up and threw with his right hand. Sam Wood, the Leicestershire Academy player at mid-off, tall figure. And there's a sort of slope in height down from mid-off through Saini the bowler down to Nagarkoti polishing his the Red Duke on the back of his trousers at mid-on. In comes Saini. Tuba grip on his left arm, short sleeve sweater on. That's on the pads of Virat Kohli. He'll be a bit annoyed with himself that he didn't put that away past Roman Walker, who then underarms the ball in from mid-wicket to Wood. It's the end of the over. Tight one from Saini. Not quite as venomous as previously, but he has bowled extremely well. India 230 for 6. I wonder if we're going to see a change at the other end.
I was going to say, it looks like a helmet sort. Are we going to see a bit of spin from the... Yes, we are. Swap ends.
Leicestershire is going to get a go from the other end.
Good, because I was rather enjoying his bowling from this pavilion end, so I'm quite happy to see a little bit more of him.
It's very hard to tell exactly how tall or short Sam Evans is, because Leicestershire is a very tall man, but there is a significant height difference between the two. Sam Evans comes up to Leicestershire's chest.
Marks his run up foot at a time, literally. No, not a pace, a foot at a time, so heel to toe, so to speak, when he's marking his run up.
So 6 or 7 paces. I mean, he's got
Not
quite,
much more than
he's
that.
got quite long strides.
Good to see if he can find a little bit more grip, perhaps, from the Bennett end. I think he may search in vain, but in he goes around the wicket. Down the track goes Pujara, but then defends, having gotten fairly close to the pitch of the ball. Knocks it out into the onside. Just the slip now. No other close catches, obviously, other than the wicket-keeper. Kishore just adjusts his field very slightly. Does have a long on, and this time he is close to the boundary edge. In goes Kishore, bowls, and Pujara just waits in his crease for that one. Stands up tall, strokes it back. But he would be hitting against the wind.
I think that's partly why, because, I mean, Pujara doesn't tend to try and hit down the ground for 6 that often.
Kishore is in. Waiting for it, stretching forward, and then adjusting is Pujara, playing with an angled bat into the offside. Might just have been slightly done in the flight there.
A little bit of straightening. I think they turned straightening.
Spins the ball in his left hand, grips it, runs in and bowls. Again, Pujara is down the track, looking to get to the pitch of the ball. And again, having done so, he's blocking it out into the offside.
He's trying to get forward to Leicestershire at every opportunity, but a couple of times now, Leicestershire's just got a little bit of dip, and Pujara's had to defend with his hands. He might be tempted to get a bat pad in on the offside.
He goes and bowls outside off stump, leans forward, steps forward, leans forward. Pujara, and then having let it go through into the gloves of Bates, sort of gestures at Kishore, perhaps himself for not playing it. Just raised his right hand. Curious gesture. So Kishore is in and bowls down the leg side this time. Worked into the onside. He should be cross with himself a bit there, Pujara. Huge gap to push the ball into for a single. Managed to pick out Will Davis, still wearing Sam Bates' sweater, now at mid-wicket. No runs are taken. End of the over, 230 for 6. 9th over for Leicestershire, none for 38. It's bowled a little bit better than those figures might suggest, I would argue.
Yeah, he's probably only been hit for a handful of scoring strokes, but as particularly with that short leg side boundary, they've all been 4s when he was bowling from this the pavilion end. Navneet Bose is watching us from Ayrshire in Scotland. Great commentary. Thank you guys. Delighted to have you with us. You can get in touch with us on Twitter. So you have to do that at the end of this delivery from Navdeep Saini to Virat Kohli, who knew inside edges past the stumps. He was trying to get that square drive away, that shot that he loves so much. Chopped down on it, and it scoots past the wicketkeeper Sam Bates for 4.
It was quite a long way from his off stump. He wasn't really in danger of chopping on, but gestured into, and does it again, gestures into the offside. That's where how I should have hit it.
He's aiming that to the right hand of backward point. Instead, he got it to the right hand of long leg. Mr. 43.
It is one of the bigger playing areas in the country, the Upton Steel County Ground, and it does look wide open over there, doesn't it? Big area. 16-acre site.
Saini is in to Virat Kohli, again trying to drive through the offside, and again inside edging. This time just for a single.
But I think the 16 acres includes everything, so to speak, including...
It is a big playing area, particularly square. Not particularly huge straight boundaries, but big square. You can see that this pitch is a long way over to the leg side when the bowling is from the pavilion end, so it exacerbates the size of the offside boundary, but it is a big playing area. I think the Aegeus Bowl is probably the biggest playing area in England. The Oval is big-ish. The Aegeus Bowl has some massive pockets in certain places, extra cover and so forth. This is outside off stump, and it skids along, and quite nicely taken actually by Evans, who's been expecting the ball to come up chest high and above from Saini. He's just having a word with umpire Anthony Davis, about his footmarks. spinners love bowling at the Ageas Bowl in limited overs cricket, in T20 and one-day international cricket. It was a big part of how Hampshire and the Southern Brave have done well in T20 cricket. Bowl spinners with those big boundaries. They try and make them as big as possible for that reason. Like of Liam Dawson and Mason Crane. Saini is in to Cheteshwar Pujara, who is just pushing this to backward point, and there is no run. Yes, I was going to tell you how you can get in touch with us. I'm at Knuckle M Pandey, NAKULMPANDE on Twitter. Richard Ray, Leicestershire's regular commentator, next to me, he's on Fox's Cricket 22. You can also get in touch with the club at LECCC, LEICSCCC. You use the hashtag LEIVIND to get in touch with us, or you can do so on the Leicestershire app. Saini is into Cheteshwar Pujara, stretching forward, and that again skids through low and is well taken by Bates behind the stumps, who's done very well, I think, today, off the spin bowlers and the seamers alike. They did well to be alert to the run-out that Vikai Kelly effected to get rid of Shreyas Iyer when he was batting very well. A push to short leg, who grasped it with both hands and recognised the opportunity and gunned it in from short range to Bates, who bails off Shreyas Iyer. I think he was batting outside of his crease to begin with and didn't get back. Last ball of the over from Saini to Pujara is defended into the offside. There is no run. Pujara on 12, Kohli on 44, India 235 for 6.
The ball, as far as I remember, hasn't been changed in this innings so far.
Roman Walker was telling me this morning, sort of been our mole in the Leicestershire dressing room, Roman, which is just next to us, that the ball had gone a bit soft. He was telling me at lunch, in fact, that the ball had gone a bit soft.
That's kind of par for the course with these balls, isn't it? But it has stayed spherical, probably to the bowling side's irritation. 60 overs have been bowled with it anyway, so 20 potentially left. Sakande doesn't really bowl a loosener. It's kind of a hopeful sort of rehearsal of his action. And as at the other end yesterday, the Bennett end, now at the pavilion end, the ground staff, or member of the ground staff, coming out to just to tamp down the ground around the bowlers' footmarks. If you watching with interest as he does so, a lot of teapots being formed out there. Bates and umpire Harris standing there with their hands on hips. Kimber comes in to advise. Everybody's watching carefully.
Saini as well.
Evans is going to come along and have a look now. They're all very interested.
Roman Walker in there as well. It's the biggest audience this particular member of the ground staff, I think, has ever had for his tamping work. Almost the entire team were around him.
His work is now done. He gets a pat on the back for it from Sam Evans.
Like all ground staff all around the world, he's wearing shorts in all forms of weather.
He's just going to do a spot at the other end as well. Sai Kishore will be bowling shortly, the Bennett end, but I wouldn't imagine he has too many issues with moving gentle on his feet.
Kamlesh Nagarkoti appears to be the tamping supervisor. Yes, enough.
Yes, he definitely did have a problem. Kamlesh Nagarkoti managed to stop in somehow jarringly worrying fashion, in mid-action almost, mid-delivery stride, when he felt his foot slip slightly. Kishore is in and bowls. Back goes Virat Kohli, suspiciously, carefully playing the ball back down the pitch. Trusting his eye, really, and the fact that there wouldn't be too much turn. Might have got forward otherwise to that one. So Kishore is in and bowls, gives it a little bit of air this time. Fuller, driven by Virat Kohli through the vacant mid-off area down to Sakande at long off, who, having shaped to throw it overarm in, ends up underarming it to Sam Evans. And then following it in, rather, coming in about halfway, because Pujara, 12 off 39, is going to be on strike as Kishore is in forward. Or moving forward, using his feet, is Cheteshwar Pujara. turning it out into the onside. He's done that on numerous occasions. I'm not sure he's ever scored any, managed to work it into any gaps as yet. He's used his feet, but as a defensive weapon, so to speak. And at that time, he does manage to clip it away through the onside, the gap at mid-wicket. Sam Wood is out there in the wide open empty acres, at least 2 or 3 of them of the Grace Road site, of the 16-acre Grace Road site, unoccupied other than for Wood over there.
He's got about 60 yards away from the nearest fellow fielder.
Shaw is in. Forward goes Kohli, pushing it out into the offside. Evans, having run across in front of Nagarkoti, doesn't manage to pick it up cleanly, and Nagarkoti sort of looks at him. What are you doing? And then there's a certain amount of amusement on both sides as Evans eventually picks it up. Shaw is in, brings Kohli forward, stretching forward, playing with a slightly angled bat, pushing it out into the offside. Evans runs in and picks up cleanly on this occasion. End of the over, 45. Virat Kohli, 13. Cheteshwar Pujara, clearly very determined to spend some time at the crease after failing to do so, or very little time in the first innings. 2-3-7 for 6. The partnership now has extended to 34.
I'd love to see a close-up of Leicestershire release, just to see the angle of the seam, to see if it's the bowlers who get a lot of overspin tend to like the seam at sort of 45 degrees, to the degree of travel. You can get it up and down. Graham Swan, and then sort of Jack Leach more 90 degrees, but more sort of side spin and flatter. I'd love to see a little close-up of that, see what he does with it. Saini is in from the pavilion end. Pujara pushes to cover. There is no run. It's very impressed with Michael Bracewell, the New Zealand off-spinner, at Trent Bridge on debut. Only been bowling off-spin for 2 years properly, but can change the angle of his seam at will. Very, very, very good indeed. Gives it a decent, aggressive lower-order batter as well.
I've seen many Mexican waves at the Upton Steel County ground, and it's not really that sort of ground. Too many gaps.
There's not a lot of architectural uniformity around this ground. Definitely a ground, not a stadium, back of a length, and turned off the rib cage by Pujara into the leg side for a single.
Yeah, there's not a lot of architectural merit either, really. Probably the only elegant building is the manual scoreboard building that was constructed to house the clock. The clock came first, believe it or not. It was offered to the club. It was made by a local clockmaker, and then the order was cancelled.
Just on the off chance.
I've got it. Yeah, well, no, it was ordered, and then the order was cancelled, having made it. So whether they were actually paid. For it by the original order, I don't know, but they said, well, we've got this 5-foot clock if you're interested. So Leicestershire constructed a building on which to house it.
It is quite a nice building. To be fair, I think the structure at the Bennett end is quite nice, the hospitality area. This is keeps a little bit low from saying he skids onto the middle of the bat of Virat Kohli. He did get the middle onto it, but it's blocked back to the bowler hurriedly. Yeah, those sort of pillar things. It looks like it fits at a cricket ground.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yes, I'm not displeased by, for example, the new rugby stand at Headingley, or whatever they're calling it these days. I don't mind it at all. It's very, as I say, it's unadventurous in a way, but it fits, it works, unlike the appalling excuse for what has become the pavilion. That astonishing building at Headingley. It was a university. It was built by the university.
That sort of angular
with
green-blue glass thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Looks like it would fit at Canary Wharf. Full delivery and driven by Virat Kohli to cover. There is no run. Saini plays his domestic cricket for Delhi, the Firozshah Kotla, as was now renamed for a deceased politician, has two very distinct stands at the straighter end. It has these three-tiered sort of zigzag stands. It looks like a sort of multi-story car park. Very tall, towering things.
1878 cricket was first played here.
Saini in to Virat Kohli, also a Delhi boy who drives this beautifully into the covers, and that would have stung the hand of Sam Evans, who gets up well, having parried it, and throws at the stumps of the non-strikers, and I think Kohli was in pretty comfortably. The field is sprawled all over the place as Evans gets up, and Everson at mid-wicket gets up, having backed that up. All action for a single.
Saini admiringly applauded Evans' efforts there, having stopped the run, then almost affected a run.
It was a very good shot. It was a very good stop, using all of his limited in length frame. Very well. The shorter guys are very spring-heeled. Last ball of the over from Saini to Pujara's